amazing. Thank you for that welcome. That's incredible. We so appreciate it. I can't tell you what it means to us to have this panel be about the women of Horror Nights. I think that it's such an incredible thing to have this many females in the horror genre doing what we do best, running the event that is worldwide, so well known, doing it at a level that really, frankly, nobody else can do. And I'm really proud that we get to sit up here and kind of talk to you a little bit about what it's like to be a woman in the horror genre, what it's like to work on Halloween Horror Nights, how we've all kind of come to where we are and what we're doing now. So we're really happy to save that, like, all that excitement for you and let you know what this life has been like for us. We'll also definitely spend some time with you at the end asking some questions. So if you have questions, just kind of keep those in your mind and we'll get to as many of those as we can kind of at the end of the panel. Cool? Yeah? Okay. Before I introduce these lovely ladies, so raise your hand if you're like spooky all year versus spooky at Halloween. Okay, I like that. Because probably something you might not know is that we are also spooky all year round. Literally, while you're celebrating July 4th, we'll be planning next year's Halloween. While you're singing Jingle Bells, we'll be, drawing Halloween houses. It's madness, so thank you for your support. All right, I'm going to let each one of these incredible women introduce themselves to you and tell you kind of what they do here and how they kind of got to where they are. So I'm going to start over here with our delightful Kelly Malik, who is one of our show writers.
With the Art Design Creative Development team. I am surrounded by very, very talented individuals on the daily, and our responsibility is to sit in a very small room together and come up with some great creative concepts collectively, and then we go through the whole creation process with some very talented women up here, and then we go through casting, the daily operations of the run, and then we do it all over again with a big smile on our face, ready to scare everyone again. So that's me. Moving on.
That's her. I'm Melissa Kilpatrick. I'm the field senior producer for Art Design, and I have a really cool gig where I get to work with our construction and scenic vendors to paint the canvas and build it so that all the other layers can come in afterwards. I'm literally the steel-toed boots on the ground
And wrangler of cats.
Wrangler of cats. Usually the cats are being chased by squirrels chasing cats, chasing dogs. But yeah, just to sum it up, happy to be here. Thank you for being back.
So the layers, once scenic's done, then we add to that layer. So we add all the decor on the streets and in the houses. My focus is on those street zones, so all the exterior stuff you see, all that extra elements that are on top of them, that's what I focus on.
Hello, I'm Emily Blumenauer. I get to work closely with show director to come up with like the concept of characters, which is really cool from the inception of each one. And then I get to, of course, design the costumes and work with talented makeup artists to design masks and prosthetics and wigs and the full look for each character you see at Halloween. I'm lucky.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Masco. Designer working with Art Design and show. My focus is just to they come up with the concept, they build the houses, they're making the costumes, and then I come in and say, okay, what does their face look like? What do their hands look like? Finishing up the character and making it look awesome and make sense. Made it spooky. Yeah, that's it.
department. I have the privilege to bring together some amazing technical designers. I get them to the table with our show direction and art direction, and they're the ones who try to make sure that we meet that creative concept. So they see it through to completion, and then they're the ones who bring it to life for you guys.
Hey everybody, I'm Nicolette Zinger. I'm the production. So all these incredible, crazy, talented people think of all these amazing things, and I kind of help them figure out how to do it. I see the project from when it starts in the concept and sees it all the way till we take the very last screw and nail out, and then we just start that whole process over again. So I oversee the project entirely and support all these lovely people and their creative pieces.
Also the one and her team out on the streets nightly, handling the chaos, running to and fro, making sure houses stay open, making sure actors stay hydrated, all of the crazy. I see Mr. Ola putting the hand up. Thank you, sir. It's really cool to have her on this team because we usually talk a lot about the creative side of Halloween, and we can't do any of the creative side of Halloween without our project management team, and that's what Nicolette and her team do. So kudos to Okay, so let's start by talking a little bit about how you guys get into the entertainment industry or the theme park business and how you kind of ended up here, and maybe where you started at Universal. Yeah, anyone?
Ladies? Okay. Well, let's see. I started with Universal in 1996. I actually started in the animated department. Yes, thank you. Thank you. But yes, I started 1997. I was cast into the Bill and Ted show, and from there, I just got the bug, and I had to be a part of it in any capacity I could. I was then joined Laura Sauls, which you may or may not recognize.
Just so everyone knows, Laura would kill to be here. She is celebrating a milestone birthday on the cruise right now, but she really misses this.
So I definitely joined forces on Laura's team, and from there just really started to blossom into this horror genre, and being a part of this panel of women and the event as a whole has been just a blessing, and it's exciting every day to come into work. So that's me.
I took a little different path. I started in film and television, did television commercials and TV pilots that no one ever saw for many years, and just picked up a fun little summer gig doing Halloween and Christmas, and then all of a sudden, 15 years later, I couldn't be having more fun and being more surrounded by great people. Just thankful for this event and being able to flourish with it, as you did, and look forward to the next 10 or 15 years.
All of them, enjoyed every minute of it, and I always was excited to find out behind the scenes. I was always curious, how does that work? How do we do it? How do they do it? So I have a background in theater. I did theater all through high school and college. And I told my parents I'm going to be an art major, and they went, what? And I went, no, trust me, I got it. So I wanted to be a scenic painter. And I dwindled a little bit in interior design. And through the theater, I always liked being a techie. I wear black, I'm in the back seat, I don't like being on stage and the lights. Not my jam, but I love creating all of that cool stuff. So when I started at Universal, I applied to be a coordinator at Halloween Horror Nights. And I was offered the job. And I was super excited, super overwhelmed. I didn't know what to expect. And the best part was that I was in events. So I got to see the streets, I got to see the houses, I jumped all over that place. And my first year was year 26, Chance's year. And I got this bug and this itch that I was like, okay, I gotta figure out how I get into this. And biggest piece of advice I can give people, I was willing to sweep floors. I did not care, just get me in the room. Get me in the room, I'll pick up the trash. And over 7 years it took, and now I'm finally here, so yeah.
I also was in theater too. I actually grew up in Orlando though, so I think the first time I went to Halloween Horror Nights I was about 15 and was pretty much obsessed since then. But then I moved to New York, worked off Broadway, worked in some film, some TV, a little bit of literally everything you could do. Decided to start a family, so I was like, oh, I should probably go back to Orlando. And I was like, the only thing I'm gonna do in Orlando is be a costume designer at Universal. So I was like, okay, let's do this. So it worked out. But luckily for me, it really did. I moved back in like 2016. So since then, I've been working with these beautiful people, designing beautiful things. So really happy about it.
So I started at Universal in 2018, but before that, I'm originally from the Chicagoland area. I worked in haunted houses since I was 17. So I was a performer, a scare actor. Up there we call it haunters. Woo, stay till. Yeah, so I started off as a performer. When I first started there, though, I wanted to do makeup initially. But then they kind of just, when you work at a local haunted house, you kind of do everything. So I was, helping with makeup, jumped in and performed, and then it escalated from there. I wanted to get better at makeup. I ended up moving from that haunted house to another one in Northwest Indiana and helped run a haunted house. And then I moved down here because I had a couple friends that worked at Universal, and they said, hey, we're hiring. And I was like, yeah? So, one thing led to another, and now I'm here, and I love it, and now I'm designing awesome makeups for one of the coolest Halloween events ever, in my opinion.
So I don't have anything that relates to any part of that. My background is actually sports medicine. And if you know anything about sports medicine, your entire job is to try to mitigate risk. Try to make sure everybody's out there, they're healthy and at the top of their game all the time. Long story short, that skill set landed me various positions within various productions in high-risk positions that deal with like pyro and effects and things like that. So I started back in 2011 with Universal. About 15, 20 pounds ago, I could fit into really tight spaces, and I could really help out with getting some of those effects in places because our designers pack as much as they can into these houses. So that was my skill set, cable management, and I could fit in these really tight spaces, and I knew how to make sure it was going to be safe. Through there, I've been so thankful to have a career at Universal. It's a place where I've literally written my job description and been able to go after whatever it is that I wanted. And to be up here on stage with these lovely ladies, a lot of what I've been able to accomplish and do, they've been a part of the whole entire ride. I couldn't have done it without them. So my advice to you is when you start to figure out what you want to do, whatever you do, make sure that you surround yourself with amazing people, and they will bring you up.
So, kind of different, but not really. I'm originally from New York, and I have a huge passion for live music, so I found myself in music business and studying that. I traveled here a lot because I loved boy bands from Orlando.
And it still does.
And I still do. But I found myself at Halloween Horror Nights in 2003, and I said, what is this? This I could love more than boy bands. And I have to be part of that. So I tried for a very long time, and I moved down here to Orlando and auditioned on audition, and I started as a scare actor at Halloween Horror Nights. In 2008, shout out to the schoolhouse, that was my street. I was a scare actor for quite a few years, and I had amazing people leading me, like Kirsten. And Kirsten kind of supported my career in the beginning there and kind of took me under her wing and taught me how I can learn more about leadership roles at Universal, and then I started to seek out coordinator, assistant stage manager, and then I found myself into my dream job, which is being the production manager of Halloween Horror Nights. I'm working with all of these amazing people that I'm inspired by every day.
I think one of the most interesting things in listening to everybody's stories is how different everybody got their start, right? None of us kind of came through a similar path of, hey, if you want to end up working on Halloween Horror Nights, this is the road. These are the things you have to do. Everyone came from somewhere completely different, got into the company from somewhere completely different and had those skill sets that led them to where they are today, right? Like if somebody had ever told me I would be sitting on this stage with this group of women, I would have thought they were nuts. I performed my whole life and I never thought I would be a man. I was like, manager? Why would I want to be a manager? I gotta like rules and manage people. And then it turned out that I sort of happened into it and really loved it and loved that piece of, you know, seeing people grow and watching them develop their careers here. I think that's a piece for us as women too, is, you know, how have you developed that resiliency or that confidence in your careers? You know, sometimes as women, we suffer from a little bit of that imposter syndrome maybe, or especially like Hattie for sure, in a field that, you know, traditionally in the past has been very male heavy, you know, coming into a position of power versus leading a gigantic group of techs that, you know, have lots of experience. What has that been like for you? Does anybody want to speak to kind of what it's been like to build that confidence throughout your career?
Well, I mean, for me, like I said, it was honestly surrounding myself with people that, you know, had skill sets and things that I aspired to. That was huge. You know, yes, the tech side is very male heavy, but we have some incredible women that are within tech. You know, lighting designers, you know, there's one in particular, I'm not sure if she's here tonight, but you know, it's amazing to see these women in those spots. Do I want to be up here in front of all you guys? No, I'm sure you can tell my voice is a little shaky. But for me, it's really important that we do have that representation. You know, for any, you know, my daughter and anybody else out there that's thinking about it, you know, like, you can do it. And just make sure that, like, you know, those that are supporting you, you talk with them, because you will have imposter syndrome. There will be those times where you feel like, why me? Why do I get to do this? Out of all the people on the planet, I'm in this position. Like, it can get overwhelming sometimes. You know, I was talking to somebody today, and I was like, man, this is humbling, you know? So taking that time to talk to people when you do feel that way, I think is probably the biggest word of advice that I can give to you. Don't ever think that you're alone in that, because we've all been there and we all have our own ways of working through that.
Thank you.
I think it's also about looking at the people that inspired you. Like I said already, a lot of the people in this panel inspired me to pursue this career. So I just took pieces away from the things that I admired about them and put that into play, into practice, but made it my own as well. And then I take the time to learn from the people around me so that they understand that I respect them and I can earn that respect back. And know that we're in this together, and it's really just a partnership. You know, it's not really about man or woman, really. It's really about empowering who you are and being proud of the work that you do and what you bring to the table and celebrating that every day.
Stephanie, do you want to talk a little bit about kind of your perspective of that, and then also because you've come from kind of previous horror experience before Halloween Horror Nights, what this genre has kind of meant to you?
On the spot.
I guess the horror genre in general has pretty much been 90% of my life since, you know, since coming like right out of high school. Being in this industry has been, like you were saying, it's very humbling, and the way I know that I'm in the right place or I'm headed in the right direction with this this career is that if I feel uncomfortable and I feel like if I feel uncomfortable and I'm nervous and I'm like, I don't know if I should be doing this, that's how I know I'm in the right spot and I should be doing this. I don't know if that's like an anxiety thing.
It's that piece of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Like,
Yeah,
knowing that even in those moments where you're double, you know, thinking yourself, or you feel like, I'm not really sure this is the thing for me, and being able to stop and say to yourself, well, I'm here for a reason. Somebody believed in me, somebody put me here, and I gotta tap into what that is and make this happen. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Cool. Kelly, do you want to talk a little bit, since you've been with Halloween for a while, sort of about how the event has grown and how the genre has, you know, improved for us?
Wow, yes, actually, just going from, we had just a couple weekends at one point, right? And now, this year, we are at 43 nights. 44, It is the most,
Cheat sheet.
thank you, I can't see it, there's a glare.
September 1 to October 30.
empowering this event is and how much this event means to all of you, just as much as it means to all of us. That we're able to put it on for 44 nights is absolutely incredible. And you know, when I leave my house and my kids are like, have a great day and you're gonna go build Halloween, and I'm driving to work thinking, I am doing with these ladies and with several others one of the coolest things, building one of the best Halloween just environments and worlds that we have in this entire universe is just super, super exciting, and it makes me smile every day. I can't say how much I enjoy just being around everyone that we work with, being around all of the different the techs and makeup and costuming and production and all of these teams that just work hand in hand to make this possible for 44 nights. It's incredible. It's grown so much, and it's because everybody enjoys it, and we love doing this for all of you. Just consider it.
We get to do what we love because you guys love what we do, so we appreciate that. Cheriston, Melissa, either one of you want to kind of share with us what your favorite thing has been that you've worked on? Any original house, show, street zone?
I have two, and these were big moments in my career at Universal. I started as a decor tech, and I got a big break of bringing you guys the 25th anniversary Jack Show. The first moment that I got employed to create the vision and help paint the picture from my brain. And it was amazing. I got to travel, I got to go to Sarasota, I got to meet some cool carnies and circus people and learn, you know, what it means to them to bring this stuff and bring that authenticness. Was amazing, and you know, it was kind of a cool show and everybody loved it, right? And then my second thing, the next following year, I got to decorate our first 10th house. We had 9 houses for many years, and then a 10th house came up, and our staff said, oh no, that's too many. And then I came in and I got to decorate that 10th house, so covered Seeds of Extinction. Help paint that picture and be a bigger part and bring this to you guys. I mean, the part of the joy for me is looking in this crowd and knowing that you guys love this so much. Like, I get to do something that everyone's gonna love and they're gonna appreciate, and that's what makes it all work.
So last year, I was an art supervisor under Jane Wymore, who is
The women that have come before us.
She taught me everything I could ever need or know. She prepared me very well for this job. And I'm out in the field with her, and sometimes, like, people get crazy ideas. And you look at them and you go, are you okay? Like, seriously? So last year, one of our most successful streets ever in Hollywood was the Graveyard in Elmwood Cemetery. I remember Jane Wymore, my art manager at the time, going, we need branches. We need a lot of branches. And I'm like, branches? What? So we go to landscaping and we say, hey, we need your trimmings. We need branches. Start collecting branches. And they're like, where do you want us to put them? And she's like, pile them up. Just pile them up. So we go out there one day to look at the pile, and the pile is pretty big. And she goes, we need more. And so I'm like, are you sure? Like, we need more branches. I'm like, okay. So we get more branches. So install comes, and that night I have the team, and I'm like, branches everywhere. Everyone cover every surface with a branch. So towards the end of the night, I'm like, okay, we're looking good. Jane comes out and she goes, we need more branches. And I'm like, Jesus, woman, branches. And I'm like, okay. So the next night, spent a whole other night doing branches. At the end of the night, she goes, I think we need a few more. And I'm like, oh, woman, like, you were crazy. And sure enough, we needed more branches. And she was right. And she just had this eye, and she just knew. And sure enough, I thought my team was like done with branches. They were like, we're done. And we were done. Jane said we were done, and it came out amazing. It was one of the best streets we've ever had in the always remember, more branches.
More branches.
More branches.
Always more branches. Always more branches.
Anybody else have
Pile
a
them
story
up.
they want to share in that regard?
Bring the tree.
Well, I loved, and I'm forget the name of it, but I'm so bad with names. I'm like, yeah, Kelly. The Hollywood Zone that was like botched plastic surgery. Vanity Ball. Yeah. I was able to do several designs for that, and the best part about it is we were just in a room. We're like, what is the grossest stuff to come up with? So I was like, okay, how about intestines outside on a cape, and it's all inside lining up a stomach? And everyone's like, yeah. I would be like, yeah, but that's our group, you know? And then it was like muscle corset with the neck coming out, and then there was a hat with hands all over and their fingers sticking out. Everyone was like, perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, that was so much fun to do because we could literally be like, this, yeah, okay. And it looked so gross, but also somehow like high fashion model-esque too. So like the clothing could be great, but also blood everywhere. Those are like my favorite things to mix.
Nicolette, you have one you want to talk about? You look like
Yeah, so my last year was actually my first time being the production manager on Halloween Horror Nights, so I have to use something from that year. So I'm going to use Dead Man's Pure Winner's Way. I think that is a true testament of what the incredibly talented people at Universal can accomplish. It really showed off every little piece of what can be done. There was so much integration between tech and our costuming and makeup team. Everything down to the tiniest little barnacle or piece of decor in each room. It was so period correct. It just really filled the space. If you looked in the little tiny details, the fish that were all around and that fish smell, and it just really flexed every single muscle. You know, it was raining in a house. Come on. And it was just the coolest thing to be part of, and just to see it go from a design on a paper to seeing it live in that space and be so magnificent and so wonderful, and hearing people's reaction when they walked in for the first time was just so incredible. And every time you just learn something new about it, so that's my favorite for sure.
You guys all are here because you're interested in what we do, right? At Halloween, unless there's somebody who's out there that's with us on Halloween, which I see a couple of you out there. Thank you for supporting. So I think it's worth talking about for us what is important to us as women in this industry and helping Halloween Horror Nights be what it is. What do we think that the positive impact is of having so many strong women involved in this and making Halloween happen? Thoughts?
So we were actually just talking about this right before we came on stage, and we said, every single one of these ladies up here, I know who to go to if I need something. If I need money, hey Nicolette, I need money. Kelly, what do you want this performer to do? How do you want them to look? You know, hey Melissa, this vendor, they won't listen to me. Melissa's like, don't you worry. But again, each one of us, like I know if I'm in the field and I'm like, oh, I need help. Okay, I can go to this person, I can literally go to any one of them up here and know who to go to. And it's empowering to know that we're the people that make this happen. So, yeah.
I love that, thank you. I will say for me personally, being a woman in this field, and especially at Universal in particular, and with Horror Nights, it's not a place where you need to be anything other than who you are, right? So Halloween brings out the best in all of us, right? I see you out there. I mean, those of you dressed up and looking amazing and getting to become who you truly are on the inside, on the outside, which I know we all love to do that on Halloween night, right? It's why Halloween is such an amazing holiday. But for us, it's a lifestyle, and we get to carry that with us. And while the world is becoming much more accepting to those things now, which is amazing, and we got progress to make, I think here at Universal Orlando and what we do with Halloween is such a great example
I'll see you around.
of putting a platform out there for people to be who they are and represent who they are on the inside, on the outside, and kind of express those spooky, creepy, scary, yelly, whatever it is that you have in there that you can't really do in your day job. Or, you know, we have people that perform for us that are, you know, work at NASA as rocket scientists, and we've got grandmothers, and we've got students that are going to school during the day and then working 8 hours with us overnight and sleeping for 2 hours and doing it again. So, you know, I just think that what we do as women in this industry is just as important as what we do as people in this industry, and what Halloween is able to bring to, you know, the world at large. I think it's really cool, and we're all very grateful to be a part of that, So since we're all, you know, of those people that we get these polos, so as management teams, we get these cool polos, and they say Halloween Horror Nights staff on the sleeve. So we learned after years of these polos that we need to put that on this side, because when you go through the McDonald's at 2 in the morning after your shift, they see that and they really want to ask you questions about what you do, and you just want to eat your cheeseburger and get some sleep. So the question I will pose to you ladies is, what are some of the conversations that have come up for you when people find out that this is what you do?
The first question is usually, when do you start?
Right now.
And they're always very surprised when in December I'm like, we've been started.
That's fair, that's fair.
Well, one of the coolest moments I've had in my career, I was actually downtown at a bar and sitting there unprompted. Some gentleman beside me started talking about how much he enjoyed going to Halloween with his son. They've been doing it for years, and it was the one time of the year that they knew they were going to get together, they were going to have fun, and it was so important to their relationship that it was just one of those moments where you're like, oh yeah, that's why I do this. You know, and it's for everybody up here. We do way more than just Halloween. So there's a lot of moments that happen at Universal where you guys are capturing in the background of your family photos, worked and, you know, many hours of overnights to make those backdrops happen for you guys. And to know that that's on your mantle, that those are pieces of your memories of your families, those are the moments that matter. That's really cool.
So I want to give us just a little bit of time for us to get your questions. We've got a stand over here. Hey, Ralph, whenever you're ready, you can steal a mic from us. We'll have him come out and set up a mic there on the stand for you. Kid Cadet SU running. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Kid. And if you have a question, just feel free to kind of make your way over. We'll take just a couple of questions before we wrap things up, but we want to hear from you. What are the things that you want to hear? Yeah, go ahead. You can feel free to just walk on over. It's totally fine with us. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are and what you want to hear from us as women in the horror industry. Oh, look at this.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
This is my son, Emmett, and he has
Hi,
a quick
Emmett.
question. We let him go to Halloween Horror Nights last year for the first time, and he loved it.
Yay, you're indoctrinated now. We'll never end.
I just wanted to know, do you know if there's going to be a Last of Us?
I'm thinking that kid's got some 20s in his pockets, Evan, and you got the rest of the audience, huh? So what I will tell you, Evan, because you're of that age, that you maybe need to learn these things. We got secrets that can't be told, right? So you're gonna have to just come a second time and find out, buddy. We got Chucky for you, though. We got Chucky. Thank you.
She seemed like he was gonna weigh us down, didn't she?
Hi, what's your name?
Brandy.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Kid kind of stole my thunder with
Well, then I guess you know our answer, don't you?
I was wondering, where do you get your inspiration for the houses? And I particularly loved the movie 13 Ghosts, so I was ever wondering if you ever go back to those movies that, like, in the 90s, if we'll ever see some of those more popular movies like 13 Ghosts. And
I will
things like that.
let Kelly speak to our inspiration piece, but what I will tell you is that we're never closing doors on anything, right? We're always looking at the world, what's going on, what's popular, what people love, what we love, right? I know Mike told a story about really like pushing for Killer Clowns for like 7 years before he got that one script. So we never close doors. We're always keeping our minds open to what we think you guys are really going to love from us as guests. Kelly, do you want to talk about how we kind of start that inspirational process?
Yes, well, absolutely. So, especially with the original content houses, we kind of just sit with each other and talk about what scares you. What do you not like? What's frightening? What's going to make people scream? What makes you uncomfortable, right? And then we go bounce those ideas around, and we really think about the world at large and what's really fitting into that moment in time, and what's going to make everyone happy when they come in. So, and scary. So that's kind of where that inspiration starts from.
Okay, great. Thank you. Great question. Thank you. Hi, Kirsten. Hold for 1 second. I'm so sorry, Kirsten. Wants to just add something.
So I like to call it the bandwagon of ideas. So the best thing is Kelly comes up with an idea, and she comes to the designer and says, hey, I have this idea, and the designer goes, ooh, what if we did this? And Kelly's like, yes. And then they come to me and they go, well, we're thinking this, and I'm like, well, maybe you could do that, and they're like, oh, yeah. And then I take it down to my crew, and I say, hey guys, this is what we're looking for. And then the crew, they go, well, what about this? And I'm like, yeah. So it really is a team effort on all fronts, and it literally trickles down, and it's a compilation of ideas of, hey, we're trying to one-up each other, and like, what's the best way to do this? So I was.
Thank you. That's such a good attitude. It's such a collaborative effort, right? And I think because all of us are so passionate about Halloween and that brand and what we do, that everybody has no shortage of ideas, right? And the more ideas we have, the better the thing is that we can put out for you. Thank you for your patience, Scott.
Of course. Hi. I just wanted to say I love everything you guys do, and thank you for doing it. I've been going Halloween Horror Nights since I was old enough to look like I could get in. And I have made some of the best memories with my family and with my friends at Halloween Horror Nights. It is one of my favorite things in the whole world. And I wanted to ask, what in your, if you could explain, kind of goes through your brain when you see something that sparks that in for me, inspiration in you. How do you get that into a full production with such lore and special effects and all the different departments? How do you kind of bring an idea into reality?
Anybody want to take that one?
Thank you, Kelly.
No pressure, Emily.
Well, actually, no, it is pretty cool. It's kind of like the bandwagon thing, though. I mean, most of the time, I just come to the table with, like, pictures, ideas, moods, colors, you know. And I'm like, I have no story for this, but what do you think about this? And then so she brings the story together. I'm like, oh, yes. But I get a lot of inspiration from nature, actually. Just because, I mean, every insect can turn into some weird creature that we do somehow and morph it into something. Or trees, or we love trees. So, I mean, all the branches. I mean, anything from our surrounding, like even this carpet's pretty cool. Like that could be like turn into something like a weird intestine. Yeah. So, I mean, for us, we're visual, and we just bring the visuals to the story people and the scenic people, and then they can kind of like turn it into a whole beautiful maze, I guess.
That's great. I think everybody just kind of is sitting around brainstorming, right? And spitballing those ideas, and once we get on one that we feel really passionate about, it takes somebody from every discipline here to try to figure out what is the piece of that we can add that makes this really come to life. And then that's when we lean over to the production team and the technical team and say, okay, get your designers, figure out how we bring this to life, and then how much time is that going to take, right? And how are we going to make that thing happen, and how are we going to support that creative idea so that we can make sure it gets out to the guest? It's a good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Hello.
Hi.
You look great.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say I also appreciate you guys and what you do. And my question was more targeted, I guess, towards the feminine input that goes into HHN. So in the first few years, you know, we got obviously staple icons that were women. We got Chance. We got
She's sitting right in the front.
Oh, I've seen her. I have seen her, and I cosplayed her 2 years ago at Spooky. We all love Chance here. And we got to see her recently, thank God. We got off-brand Bloody Mary. Thinking about that, they came from either public domain by now or an extension of a male character that already exists. But nowadays we have very strong, really cool, independent female characters like the Cyborg Queen in Seek and Destroy, or we have really cool, oh yeah. We have really cool gender non-conforming characters like Maestro and Madam really come to mind from Vanity Ball, along with a lot of the high fashion models, of course, around there. And I was just wondering, as time goes on, how does like the queer influence affect how HHN is designed, the queer and feminine input that comes from the creatives that are there now?
I mean, what I will say to you is that we have people that identify in every kind of way that work on this event, right? We're always going to be open to everyone's ideas. Everyone is in the position that they're in because they have something to contribute to this event. So yeah, I mean, we're all about being inclusive in any way that makes sense to us for whatever we're doing. So just like I would say about, you know, what IPs are you doing or any of that kind of stuff, we never close the door. We always have a door open for what is that idea. And really for us, we never want to do anything that feels like it's a token, right? We want to do things because we know they're great. They have meaning, they have story, they're going to resonate with you as an audience, and that they resonate with us as creatives and people who put this machine, as you would, on. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question, and I can't speak to specific plans, right, that we have going on, which of course we never do, right? We never tell our trade secrets, but I will say that that's something it's represented on our team, it's represented in our company, and we're always going to support and listen and do the things that we think are right and will resonate.
Thank you so much.
See that light? Come on, I just want to put it out there for you guys. We just have a couple minutes left, so this might be our last question. I so apologize to this long line if we can't get to you. Go ahead.
Hi, how are we doing today? Love the event. Been doing it since 26, but I've known about it since the beginning.
Awesome.
Well, not the beginning. So pretty much, I'm gonna make it short and sweet. You know, what, in your opinion, would be your favorite house or scare zone that you worked on, or you walked around and said, "This is HHN. This is peak HHN."
Yeah. Anybody have a
And also-
particular opinion they want to express?
You ready?
So ready. I'm always ready for Kelly.
Vamp 85.
Everybody knows I love my Jack show.
Yes.
Now I know the name, Vanity Ball.
To bounce off Vamp 85, I did love that street zone, and when I was a makeup artist, I think it was my first or my second year, I absolutely went out and like just watched the performers and listening to the music and just absolutely vibing. I was like, this is great. But as far as ones that I've like directly worked on, Wicked Gross.
Let's see, coming from an effects background, I'd have to say that probably working with Fuel Girls that first year. It was a show that definitely pushed some boundaries. Very cool to see it happen and to be a part of it. Seeing those pieces come together after a lot of discussion and making sure everybody knew where we needed to be and when if something did go wrong, and talk about risk management, my God. That one really, pushed us to see what we could do, and it was really exciting to be a part of bringing that first year.
Okay, I'll do all three. As a super fan myself. I obviously already said Dead Man's Pier Winner's Wake for my house. For my street, I'm going to say Schoolhouse for nostalgic reasons. And also Psycho Scarabee when that was in New York. I actually see some characters from that street here, and that was my first time working with Kelly, so that was also very nostalgic and fun for me. And then for show, I'm going to have to say last year's Nightmare Fuel. But again, it just took what we did the first year and pumped it up even more with really cool, amazing talent and some really cool high-res pieces. So it was really impressive. So that's it.
I will say for me, I think my all-time favorite so far, because I never know what's coming, but Carnival Graveyard is probably my favorite. I just feel I'm a totally at heart. I love the fair. I'm like that psycho who's got 3 things of like turkey legs and corn on the cob and a funnel cake and is trying to get on the scrambler. So I was all about Carnival Graveyard, and I also just thought it was a house that we really did something very different than we've ever done before, right? It didn't feel like a house, it felt like an environment. And I just thought that was so cool and unique and different to what we've done. There was just so much to look at. I mean, you could look at everything in that house with the lights on for hours and still not see everything that was in there. So that's one of my personal favorites. That was such a nice question. Thank you for allowing us to talk about that.
Also, actually, I also have a question. I have $20.
Thank you so much. All right, so unfortunately, we're not going to get to the rest of the line because we want to give some time to make sure that we can clear the room for the next panel. I want to be very respectful of everyone's time. But what I will say is I kind of want to wrap it up by saying to this team, to me, the most exciting thing about Halloween is when I used to be production manager was calling that gate open on the radio and being like, all right, we're ready to go. First night, open the gates. And you guys would all come like, pounding in past us. I think I lost a shoe one year. It was insane. True story. So I would say to the panel, what is the one word emotion that is most present in your mind when you think about how you feel about our guests' reaction to what we do? Kelly, you want to get us started?
Thank you. Ooh, I feel exhausted. But so excited because I know the minute you walk in the gate, how excited all of you are and what you're about to see, and knowing that there was thousands amongst thousands of individuals that worked day and night to make this happen, and they love it just as much as you're about to. So very excited.
Besides exhausted, thank you for stealing my answer. Appreciation. I mean, honestly, as an artist and a creative, to get to do something that so many people love and see is just the goal. It's like, who needs to be in a museum when we can give you guys this? And you'll love it, and it'll live with you guys forever. So it's it makes us immortal in a sense, because you will carry these memories around and tell them to your children, tell them to your family, and bring your family. And so I'm just appreciative to be part of that process and bring this show to you guys that you love so much.
Proud, very, very proud. My decor techs, they are my team. They do the grunt work, and I'm out there saying, put that there, put that there, put that there. I used to be in their spot, and it's hard work. It's sweaty, it's dirty, it's nasty, it's all of the above. But I'm very, very proud of that. And because in the end, on that very last night, we're done with install. And I take a ride on a golf cart, and I take a ride around one loop around the whole park, and I'm like, wow, we did this. That's awesome.
I would probably say humble too, especially because I just do what I do because I love to do what I do, love to draw, love to sew, love to create. But the fact that I can see how much you guys love it just makes me like,
I guess on top of everything, so everybody's already taking my ideas.
You're allowed to duplicate ideas. There's no rules here.
Relief. Not in like a well, thank God it's over. It's like everything's, we work all year for this, and then the gates open and everyone's in, and then, my face hurts from smiling. I'm so excited, and then you finally get that exhale, and you're like, all right, we're good. It's open. Now
That moment of enjoying it, right?
Yeah.
After so much
Yeah.
work.
Yep.
I kind of have to echo the same thing. Exhaustion, relief, accomplishment. I mean, literally within 15 seconds, you're like on this roller coaster, and oh my God, we did it, guys. Let's go get Christmas. So we don't actually get a lot of time to really sit in those moments. So those 15 seconds are really important when you guys rush the gates, because we literally built everything when you guys come through there, and can't wait to see what we do the next year.
I'm going to stay grateful. I work with these incredibly talented people and the people who are not up here as well, and seeing all their work come to fruition And like Kirsten said, you have that moment where you open the gates for the first time, and I'm almost in tears every single time because I just look around for pinpoint people and just seeing the different reactions as they're coming through, and seeing our team that's there as we're opening too, and seeing the reactions of the guests as well, and knowing that all their hard work, every little tiny note to just make it so perfect for every one of you and give you that experience that you truly deserve. I'm really grateful for that opportunity to see that every year, every night of Halloween, and I'm looking forward to it this year.
Thank you so much, ladies. I have to say, I mean, I know all of you, right? And we got to talk about some stories the other day, but it was really cool for me just to sit here and hear all the things that you had to share tonight. So I appreciate that, and I know these guys did too, yeah? Keep talking to us, keep telling us what you love. We're always looking at the socials and seeing what everybody's all about. It's one of our favorite things. Yeah. Speaking of social, we want a selfie. It's selfie time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Spooky Empire. Thank you so much, Doubletree. Thank you so much, Horror Nights and HHN and Universal Orlando for having us come here. You guys, put on your pretties. We're getting ready. We're going to face backwards, so you're in the show.